For some people, the thought of skydiving could be terrifying and the last thing that they would ever do. But for others, skydiving is one of the most fun and enjoyable activities to do on the planet because they say of the natural chemicals produced in your brain when experiencing the thrill. The endorphins, the adrenaline, and the serotonin, all known as feel-good chemicals that are produced by the brain, which essentially makes people feel really happy. Well, in today's video, we are looking at the top 10 most terrifying skydiving events that people actually walked away from. But before we get into it, don't forget to smash this like button, subscribe, and let's get it. Number 10. A guy diagnosed with epilepsy decided it would be a good idea to go skydiving. As for the most part, he had the condition under control. Well, at least he thought. Because shortly after jumping out of the plane, at 9,000 feet, he starts experiencing a seizure. Of course, the camera was right there to capture the horrific scene. But lucky for him, at 4,000 feet, the cameraman wasn't only his instructor, but also a hero. His instructor managed to get close enough to him in order to pull his parachute. The guy actually miraculously survived and wakes up from the seizure at 3,000 feet with his parachute already pulled and just glides back safely down to earth.
Making sure he's had a parachute above his head. Then the next thing I know, I wake up at 3,000 feet, thankfully underneath a fully inflated parachute.
Number 9. This guy hilariously passes out mid-air while his instructor continues to check if he's still alive and wake him up. Well, he then actually does wake up, but in a panic, with the most terrifying scream you'll ever hear. Brain time. Congratulations, you made it this far in the video. What would you do if I told you you could have 25 years of good luck? And all you'd have to do is like this video and also subscribe if you haven't already. Well, what are you waiting for? Smash that like button and you'll get 25 years of good luck. And now, back to the video. Number 8. Ever wonder what it would be like if animals were as smart as humans? Or if hamsters could fly? Well, this guy decided to strap a small parachute to a hamster, then place it in a transparent box with a remote opening bottom door, and attach that to a drone and fly it up into the sky. Well, we know what that looks like now. This must have been the most terrifying or most fun this hamster has ever had. And lucky for the hamster, it makes it back down to earth and survives.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move.
Number 7. Was supposed to be one of the most epic Red Bull stunts ever performed. If of course the two stuntmen who were performing the stunt were successful. Luckily, everyone survived the stunt. However, one of the planes wasn't so lucky. The two men flying separate planes were to perform a plane swap in midair. They would signal to each other to put each plane in a nosedive, then skydive out of the plane and glide towards each other's plane, then fly back down to ground. Unfortunately, only one of the men were actually successful, as the other plane went off course and the other guy wasn't able to catch it. Luckily, no parachutes malfunctioned during this stunt. However, the plane was mangled after hitting the ground, and the FAA weren't too happy about it.
Diving! All good.
Number 6. This guy in his wingsuit decided to base jump off a cliff, however, without a parachute. But that's because it was supposed to be the world's first world record for base jump wingsuit flying and landing in water. And believe it or not, this is not the last guy on this list to perform a no parachute stunt. However, anyway, he sure does deserve a congratulations because he did set a new world record.
Seconds before landing. I repeat, 30 seconds before landing. Team on standby, please.
Number 5. Remember the guy and his cousin who tried to perform the plane swap? Well, the guy that was actually successful in catching the one plane and safely bringing it back down to ground? This is him, Luke Akeson. Only this time, he decided to jump out of a plane without a parachute and land in a net. And believe it or not, he lives to tell the tale. But the craziest thing about this stunt is the timing and the precision needed to actually be successful and hit the net, as we see here from his view from 25,000 feet in the air. Mind-blowing how he managed to guide himself down towards that net. Number 4. Here's another guy with a wingsuit that decided to jump without a parachute. Only this time out of a helicopter. And unlike the guy that wanted to set the record for landing in water without a parachute, this guy thought it'd be a cool idea to land in some boxes. And it looks like he was right about that. He survived and landed in some boxes. Number 3. This has got to be the most epic base jump no parachute ever. This guy, rest his soul, who actually survives this stunt but actually dies a few years later in a motorcycle accident, decides to jump out of a hot air balloon without a parachute. The whole team thought it was going to be a regular routine jump, but the guy had other plans of his own. He takes off his parachute and throws it off the hot air balloon. He then takes off his shirt and makes an epic speech about taking risks, knowing that if he jumps, his friends will save him. Well, one of his friends sure does, but not before capturing some epic footage free falling through the clouds. Rest in peace, Auntie.
And if there's a risk, it's there for a reason, and you must take it.
But how much time till we fall?
Number 2 is a scene straight out of a Fast and the Furious movie. Only this scene was real life for 9 individuals who miraculously all survive. What was supposed to be a routine skydive turned out to be the most terrifying scene the world has ever seen. There were actually 2 planes out that day, both carrying skydivers. However, right before everyone was supposed to jump, the 2 planes struck each other in midair, which somehow caused a fiery explosion. Miraculously, all the skydivers and also the pilots jumped out of the planes with their parachutes and their GoPro cameras, capturing from multiple cameras what must have been the most horrific and epic scene they probably ever experienced. And coming in the number 1 spot is the 80-year-old grandma who went skydiving for her birthday, which turned into another horrific scene as her instructor struggles to hold her while falling. You can actually see right before they jump that her safety harness was loose. It turns out one of her friends loosened it for her because it felt too tight. However, the instructor should have checked before they actually jumped. Lucky for them, this isn't a story about a malfunctioning parachute because they both survive. I searched high and low before making this video to see whether or not Laverne, the old 80-year-old grandma, was still alive, because this video was filmed in 2012 on her 80th birthday, which would mean that here in the year 2022, Laverne would be 90 years old. But unfortunately, I couldn't find anything. But anyway, freaking epic. Anyways, that wraps up the list of top 10 horrific, terrifying skydive, base jump, wingsuit, flying spectacles. If you enjoyed this video and you want to watch more videos like it, make sure you check out all my other videos. And if you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe. Till next time, catch you in the next one.